ability.
All right, here we go. All right, right back at y'all with another sports update. Tuesdays, 8 o'clock. We in the building. Adrian, Reid, what's up?
What's going on?
Yeah,
Yo,
let's go ahead. Let's go ahead, get right into it. Let's go ahead and start off with the Red Wings. Red Wings currently 15, 12, and 4. They're fourth in the Atlantic right now with 34 points on a 3-game skid right now. So Reid, they just lost last night. What is your analysis been of this Red Wings team thus far?
yeah, I mean, look, no one really thought they were going to be. No one thought they were Stanley Cup champions at this point. Nobody really crowned them that. They wanted to see Eiserman make some moves and do some things, but he obviously signed Brink or traded for DeBrincat, got Kane. He's made some serious moves. Larkin just came back from injury, but Lucas Raymond has come a long way. Sider's obviously come a long way since since his rookie season. So, I mean, I still have faith in the team. I still think they're good. The thing that scares me most, thing I've been clamoring about it for most of the season is just no goaltending, man. It stinks every time you think that they found a new guy, whether it's Alex Lyon or Reimer. Or, I mean, Husso, we all know, is not great. So as soon as one of those guys, allows 1 or 2 goals, it makes you feel good. But then, the next game they let in they'll allow 4 goals. So goaltending needs to be stepped up, whether it's he finds a guy before the trade deadline or he calls up Costa, who he drafted a few years back. He's in Grand Rapids right now. I know he's not having a hot season, but we could see what he could do. Yeah, I don't know. I know Husso is out now. He just got hurt, so he'll be out for a little bit. But goaltending scaring me the most. Defense is all right, but power play needs a lot of. They cannot seem to score on a power play to save their life. So, although those 2 things are the main concerns, but overall, I mean, I'm pretty happy with the team. Hockey, there's a lot of games to play in a season, so you can go through lulls unless you're a super team like Boston or a New York or something. So I still expect them to make the playoffs. I mean, they've won a lot of games that they weren't supposed to. I think they're ahead of what people thought they were going to be.
Yeah, I agree. They're ahead, and coming into the season, the biggest question mark was goaltending, and sure enough, here we are. Goaltending is the biggest problem. So, like you said, maybe the guy they got in their farm system, or maybe make a trade for a guy. I don't know exactly what goaltenders are out there in the market. I more so watch the Wings instead of all the hockey, but they definitely need to do something with the goalie situation. They need to make a trade. I mean, really, what guys are out there? Who's on the market right now?
I haven't looked into the free agent. I can give me 1 second. I'll look it up and I'll let you know. But I know that maybe if you can go and try and get a guy, would cost you a lot more money. He's older, but I mean, he helps you right now. Would be a guy like Jonathan Quick. He's won a few Stanley Cups back in his day. He's a backup on the Rangers, so I mean, it wouldn't hurt to call and see if maybe you could get someone like him. I'm sure he would cost you a whole lot of money. I think he's 8-1 right now with like a 2 save average, something along those lines. So a guy like him would be good. I would have to check back in and see who's out there. I haven't really looked at it totally.
Yeah, I mean, Reid, you're the hockey connoisseur out of all of us 3. So, but like you said, they are right where they're at right now. They're in good position. A 3-game skid. I mean, it's still early in the season. They're playing well. We thought they had some inconsistencies, but overall, and all, I think they're on the right track now. These next 3 games are going to be tough, though. You got to go at the Jets, who are 3rd in the Central, in the Western Conference, versus the Flyers, who are 2nd in the Metro, and then at the Devils, who are 6th in the Metro. I believe you have a better matchup with the Jets because I've watched the Devils. I've seen them play a little bit, but just get 2 or 3 games, snap this losing streak. Get these guys going. Husso's been terrible, Reid. He's giving up 3.53 goals a game. Like there's got to be some way. We got to find some guys on the market. Make a move. It doesn't have to be a sexy move, but make a guy who's going to be there and put the pressure on them, because you start getting later in the season and there's going to be game 60, 65 where you need a couple games to maybe get home ice in the first round of playoffs, or get yourself in the playoffs, and them points. Every point counts, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's some guys out there that you could go after, like on teams that don't necessarily have the greatest record. A guy that I know you guys are probably familiar with, even just being Red Wings fans. He's played in the league for a long time. He is older. That's his only problem, which is Marc-Andre Fleury for the Minnesota Wild right now. He was on Vegas. He's currently going to be unrestricted free agent after this year, so you could trade for him, or you could and then just let him go, or you could sign him. He's got 4 wins on the season this year. I mean, he has a .8 save percentage. He has led in a few more goals, 3.29, but I think that mainly has to do with bad defense in Minnesota. So I think that he would be a good guy that you could maybe call about. Another good one would be Kokkonen, which is the goalie for the San Jose Sharks. They're another struggling team. A lot of these goalies, I think that could be on he's a free agent. He's a lot younger. He's 27. Again, he has a 3.66 goals against. So, I mean, it's not great, but again, it's like having a quarterback that has no offensive line. He's going to look bad when he has a lot of interceptions because he's got no one blocking for him or to pass to. So that's kind of how I look at it with goalies. If they have a really bad defense or they play on a bad team, then they're going to, have a bad goals against. So there's guys out there, sure. I would, if I'm Steve Yzerman, he has a lot of draft capital, a lot of good young players in the farm. So maybe he could make a trade, send some picks, or send one of your younger guys off to one of those teams because they need a lot of help as it is. So
yeah, that'll help them out tremendously because I do expect this team to make the playoffs and upgrade the roster going into the playoffs. Like, just getting to the playoffs isn't good enough for me. Try to win the series, try to make some noise when you get there. I know it's been a while, we haven't been there, so them getting in will be an accomplishment, but try to make some noise when you get in there. So we'll see what they do by the deadline. Wings at Winnipeg tomorrow at 7:30. All right, let's see. Got some feedback here. Shout out Ack in the building. All types of stuff going on in the sports world this time of year. Yes, it is, Ack. Yes, it is. We're here to update you on all of it. All right, so let's switch over to college basketball. Michigan State had the big blowout win Saturday against Baylor. They won yesterday against OU. So things was looking ugly, Adrian, but it seems like they're starting to get things turned around here, Adrian. They got Stony Brook coming up and Indiana State. So do you feel as though MSU is starting to hit that curve right here?
I think it could be that Baylor win could have been the win to get them to right the ship and have these guys believing. I know we talked a lot about Xavier Booker and Jackson Cooper. Xavier Booker came in the game, played well. I turned on that game. I missed the first couple of minutes. I turned it on, and Tyson Walker was 4 for 5 from 3. He hit a 3 in the corner uncontested, and he came back to back and did an ISO, hit a 3, and then that was all she wrote. Baylor started turning the ball over and being ranked 6th in the country, 9-0. Michigan State turned it on. I do believe this will get them started. We'll see. I think they have to take advantage of this because the Big Ten is not strong by any means this year. As we can see, a lot of teams are struggling. Indiana's been struggling. The only team that's been showing the capability of winning a national championship is Purdue. So hopefully this can get them turned around. They blew them out. I didn't think they would go blow OU out, former alum, by the way, but go Grizz. But they went out there and dominated them like they were supposed to. I think they'll finish the year, get 2 more wins, start a 4-game win streak, and go in the conference. And then with all things on the table, they can make a run, man. They can turn it around, I believe.
Yeah, I agree with Adrian. I haven't paid too much attention to college basketball this year. I generally, regular season for me is kind of it's double. I'll turn it on if I need something to watch in sports. But I'm generally just paying attention during the tournament, as a lot of fair weather or casual college basketball fans do. They looked great against Baylor, like Adrian said. From what I've seen, there's Izzo, I think, is kind of in a Monty Williams type streak almost, where he's trying to figure out his lineup. Granted, Monty, doesn't know what he's doing, but he's trying to figure out his lineup, and I think Izzo's the same way. I think guard needs to not see the floor as much. He, from what I've seen, has not looked good. Tyson Walker obviously is, he's that senior guy that Izzo always had, a senior point guard Izzo always has, that seems to run the floor and make a lot of noise. So I think State has a good chance. I mean, like either win these next 2 games, go on that 4-game win streak, play some in division opponents, and you'll be, on your way to the tournament, or maybe you'll definitely be on your way to a ranked position. Whether you're in the tournament, I don't know, but you'll be definitely on your way to a ranked position for sure.
Yeah. So, Adrian, where do you see Tyson Walker as far as like his NBA potential? You think he's a first rounder?
Not at all. He's a small guard, as we all know. The small guards struggle in the league. I mean, you had your Trey Burks, you had your Isaiah Thomases. Even Carolina has a guard right now. Ellie Cadeau, he's a freshman, but it's just hard for guys unless you're just super explosive like AI was. It's tough for you to stick in the league right now, man. I mean, these guys. Not saying you can't get it done, but maybe a second round. He'll either be a second round pick in my undrafted. He'll have a shot to make a roster. He'll definitely, at worst, be in a G League or play overseas. But as far as first round pick, I just don't see it, especially in today's how the game's going today in the NBA world. They like the tall wings, even because we got the big guards now, like a Tyrese Halliburton. You got the Cade Cunninghams. You got the Shai Gilgeous-Alexanders, the De'Aaron Fox. It's just tough. You got to have a special ability, and I think he lacks that athletic explosiveness to be in that kind of stratosphere.
Yeah, I agree with Adrian too. I think he's going to be like going back to Isn't and short guards. I think he's going to be like Cassius Winston, who I mentioned before. I mean, he got drafted in the second round of the Wizards, I believe. Yep. An old school name I'm going to throw out is Kalen Lucas. He might kind of be like that type, where he went overseas and played in Greece. Shout out Orchard Lake St. Mary's. He played basketball when my brother was there. Yeah, I mean, I think he's definitely. I don't think he's going to be a starting guy. I think he could definitely. I feel like if they make enough noise, they go to the tournament and win a round or two. I definitely think that'll put him in the second round. But like Adrian said, I think he's probably going to be undrafted because he just doesn't have the height, doesn't have the size.
You guys remember Carson Edwards that played for Purdue?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Carson Edwards was better than him, but he was smaller and he was explosive. And you see how hard it is for him to be able to stick in the NBA. So it just, he could shoot the ball. The problem was he was just small. It's just today's game. I just don't think that's how he would have. Like in the 90s, he definitely would have stuck. But now it's just, like I said, it's just so hard. Like you got to be 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah. But I mean, would you consider him one of
after? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, would you consider Tyson Walker one of the better players in the Big Ten, like one of the top 5 player?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think he's at least a top 5-10 player. I knew it. Yeah, Carson Edwards did play for the Pistons for a little bit, didn't he? He did have a cup of coffee.
Last year before that.
2 is when he was here, and he was basically like a bench. He was like a 2-way contract guy, I'm pretty sure, but. I just remember them calling him up, and he started. I was like, "This guy's gonna come out and shoot a million threes." I love him because he was good in college. He was exciting to watch in college. He's playing at Bayern Munich now for basketball.
Yeah, I just think that Kemba Walker's overseas. He's playing in Europe right now, killing it too. I wasn't even aware of that.
I believe he's playing in Monaco.
Yeah, Monaco, but he's not playing well. I saw.
Yeah, and you see smaller guards' bodies break down easier too. So once his knees went bad, it just even look at guys like maybe like Eric Bledsoe that
he's overseas playing too.
Yeah, he has a short stint in the league, but it's kind of hard for these guys now to stick, man. I mean, Steve Nash was 6'3", Steph's 6'3", so it's just it's tough, man.
Yeah. I saw a list that had all the guys that were from the NBA overseas now, and I know obviously we all know Dwight Howard's over there. Serge Ibaka's still playing overseas. There's a few guys that are still playing. Boogie Cousins just got signed.
Yep.
Okay. So, yeah.
I'm surprised John Wall ain't playing over there. I think John Wall can still go.
Who might be going over there soon? It's Bradley Beal. That guy can't stay healthy.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. So, yeah, sticking with basketball here. So, the Michigan State did beat Baylor at the LCA. Hopefully, they can leave some of that good luck in there for the Pistons. They had a close one yesterday. Cade Cunningham career high, 43 points, but they ended up losing 130, 124. They did keep it kind of close. So, what you think about Cade's performance yesterday, Reid?
Yeah, I mean, that's like I've been yelling about and pounding the table for all season is Cade to play 38 minutes a game. I know it's hard to make it your star guy, dude. You want to avoid injury. I mean, he played 43 minutes yesterday, so obviously 42 minutes. I don't remember what it was, but he played like he wanted to do. He played like the leader. Unfortunately, the guys around him just can't seem to get a bucket to go for themselves either because. Bogey, I was watching it. I mean, I turned it on here and there. You guys know I was yelling at you guys about it, but I mean, Bogey would get a ball down low and wouldn't know what to do with it, or he'd pull up, he missed the shot. I missed a few threes. Sarr obviously missed a few. Sarr only had 2 points, which sucks. I know that he's on and off with points, but those other guys got to step up, man. Granted, you didn't have Dirk. I don't think Beef Stew would have helped you any more than the lineup did. I think that lineup yesterday was probably the best lineup that he could have put together, that Monty put together. It just needed Jalen Duren in there, and I think that team probably would have won yesterday because they didn't have a really good center other than Wiseman, who looks completely lost out there. They don't have a center who can rebound to save their life. Duren at least gives you that and can score double-digit points every night. So, I mean, Ivy scored 15, I believe. Both he did 22, but he just looked lost. He wasn't hitting threes like he normally does. I hate to see Cade have 43 points, and I think he had 43 points and didn't want to come out of the game because he's like, I just need to take over because I'm tired of losing. I think that's just where he gets to at this point now, and I think you'll see a lot more of him getting hits like that because he is just sick of it. But yeah, you need to see Duren back with this lineup that they just had yesterday, and I think Utah's going to be their best bet, in this stretch that they have. So we'll see. Hopefully Cade can put up another monster game. He helped me in fantasy. He scored 81 points in fantasy for me. So yeah, I just don't want to see another Grant Hill and Cade go somewhere else and if he goes somewhere else, I want him to have a great career. I don't want it to be lost by the Pistons.
Yeah, piggyback of what Reid said. Pretty impressive. We know Cade has this as an arsenal. He's already had a few 30-point games this year. The problem with him is he's trying so hard to get his teammates involved. He knows he can get a bucket whenever he wants to, but the fact that he's trying to play such team basketball shows you the kind of player he is, and people talking about he hasn't lived up to the expectations. One, he was hurt a little bit his rookie year. They've been garbage. Two, he missed all of last year, so he's really playing his second year of full NBA basketball, and we see the talent and we see the potential greatness in him. And his franchise just continues to fumble the bag for them. For an NBA team to lose 24 consecutive games in today's age tells you how difficult that is to do, especially with the 76ers when they were doing the Daryl Morey, but the tank, the process. They were trying to lose on purpose. They were putting guys on the floor who didn't deserve to see an NBA court, fringe NBA guys, G League guys. But this team has a collection of players that just don't work together, man. It's pathetic, man. Here, we're throwing away his career already. He's early in his career. He's so used to losing. He hasn't seen winning since college. Since they got to the Sweet 16 when he was at Oklahoma State. But my thing was, I retweeted this on the Pistons Twitter account, and I'm surprised they didn't block me for it. But I retweeted the tweet where about the Pistons losing, and they had a picture of Cade, and I said, "Get that man some help. Tell Tom Gores to sell the team." And so I'm surprised they didn't block me because we all know the propaganda for this team. If you hear the broadcast, these guys are just a bunch of idiots, and it gets ridiculous. So it's just annoying. But like you said, Utah is probably their best shot. Marketing should be playing. If he does, I don't see anybody that's gonna stop him. That's their best player. And when they got Colin Sexton who can score the ball, Jordan Clarkson was a bucket. But we're looking at 24 right now, fellas. They don't get it to Utah. They have back-to-back games with the Nets, and we'll be talking about this Tuesday next week, the day after Christmas. They could potentially be going for to break the record at home against the Nets. The Nets could beat them, and they will set the mark of 27 games. At this point, like I said, I'm hoping they do it because I'm just going to keep yelling, sell the team, guys. I know last week there was people at the game yelling, sell the team. That's what we need. That's what we need. We need some hope. We need something, man, because it's looking so bleak, man.
If it's not people in the crowd, you can sell the team. Just don't go to the games. I know you can buy a ticket for you can buy hot and ready for cheaper than you can buy a Pistons ticket. Pistons ticket's cheaper, hot and ready. But I just think it's to the point where it was like when we were the Lions and the Lions were so bad. Like people should just stop going. They still, and then luckily they turned it around. But if you break that record, if they break that record of a losing streak, Gores needs to come out and he should have came out already and said it. Either Gores needs to come out and fire Weaver immediately as soon as they lose that game and they set that record. Weaver should be gone. And if neither of them come out and Weaver's not gone, Adam Silver needs to make a press conference and say, we're forcing Tom Gores to sell the Detroit Pistons because this is terrible for the league. This team has got a new record for losing the most consecutive games. They need to get out of here. We need new life. We need new blood. And hopefully they get a new GM. Unfortunately, a guy that I like watching, he's exciting, but like Ivy is your best trading piece at this point because you're not going to trade Cade and you're not probably going to trade Duran. Everybody else should be for sale. And I hate to say it, but I mean, at this point, what else are you going to do?
Yeah, and I would get active right now. I would start trading, start shopping, guys. Don't wait till the last 30 minutes of the trade deadline. Call shop guys around, see what's the market for guys, what's available, what you can get, maneuver. It's like, what is Troy Weaver doing? Like we don't know where he's at. He doesn't talk. Owners, like we just don't know nothing. Like
nothing.
I know we heard some speculation of a possible beef stew trade, but other than that, like we just don't know what's going on. We're in the dark. Monty, that game last night, coaching, he looked real stressed out. He's in over his head. It's just pathetic, man. This is just crazy. So Adrian, do they win Thursday against Utah or not?
No chance.
Yeah.
Again, I think they put that line that they out. What it was 2 days ago or yesterday. If they put that line out, if Duran's healthy, which I don't know he will be because he's still got this ankle problem.
He's not playing. They got him out listed already. And then they got Isaiah Stewart, Killian Hayes, and Malcolm Castellan, which I don't even know who the heck that is. And they got them all as game time decisions. But I don't think Duran's playing probably till sometime in the new year.
Okay, well, I mean, at that point, but you can't start I guess Bagley's probably your best option. But if whatever his name is, I'm so flustered about this team. Markkanen's playing. You probably need Wiseman just for the height, to be honest with you, because Bagley can't rebound. Wiseman can't rebound that much better, but at least he gives you 4 more inches or whatever he's got on Bagley. So I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to say, man. It's just hate to see this Cade. You keep seeing people online go after Cade and say he's not everybody else is a problem to defend Cade. Well, it's like, what else do you want to do? Like, he's the only star player we have. It's not all his fault. Like Adrian said, he's trying to play team ball. Everybody's like, well, he's averaging 5 turnovers a game. Well, yeah, that's what happens when he passes a guy the ball wide open and the guy just fumbles it out of bounds, or he passes a guy an alley-oop and I can't wrangle the alley-oop and drops the ball and turns it. So many people are blaming Cade for stuff that's out of his hands. No one can create space to help him shoot. I'm sorry, maybe I am just a Cade defender, but at some point you have to look at it like this: 43, 7, and 5. Not many other guys can do that in the league, and you have one on your team. Yet you want to blame him for the turnovers that he gets in the game, or the 6 turnovers he gets in the game. Sure, some of them probably are his fault. Maybe it should be 2 or 3, but a lot of them are his teammates just not playing good basketball.
I mean, what do you and at what point what would you like him to do? I mean, all these people that are saying he's not lived up to the expectations. I mean, what do you want? What else would you like him to do by himself? It's still a team game at the end of the day. He needs some type of help, A veteran guy would help. They're just log jammed everywhere at the guard position. Is like we talked about Monty. I guess he's still trying to figure it out, but these rotations and these lineups makes absolutely no sense. You have Bogdanovich, you have Burke, you have Sasser. You're playing Livers, you have Knox. This is, like I said, we can get into another, but the roster it doesn't fit. It doesn't make any sense. There's Troy Weaver's bombed everything he's done since he's been here. He's done 2 good things in my opinion. That was getting Jalen Duran and drafting Cade, which actually I'm not even going to give him credit for that, because me, you, and my newborn self with my eyes closed could have drafted Cade, and that would have been an easy thing to do, So he has to own up to it and accept the fact that he's not done a good job. But like we said, they won't come out and speak. Gores needs to fire himself. I mean, hope Adam Silver is getting his message, guys, out here. I hope somebody sees this pod, somebody in the NBA office, and just realizes that get this franchise some help. It kind of reminds me of when the NBA had to help the New Orleans Hornets out back in the day.
Yeah.
the last thing I'll say on this really quickly is like you were saying about the drafts is Weaver has just gone through all of his drafts. He drafted guard, big man. Then he went for guard. And what did he do in Cade's draft? I'm pretty sure he drafted another big man. Then he went guard, big man again, and then a wing, which played guard where he was in the overtime elite, and then guard again, and later at 25 with Sasser. He's just collecting guards, and you don't need that many. Like you can, like if you already have Cade as one of your guards, you didn't need Ivy. I unfortunately was a guy that was against Ivy. I love watching him play, but I'd rather have Shaden Sharp, who's averaging like 18 points for Portland right now. Or there's so many. I mean, obviously you can look back and say as we talk about the Killian thing, but that draft also. I mean, other people skipped on Halliburton, so it's like. But at some point, you have to realize that these big men that you're getting are not good, and these guys are just going to clog up your whole roster. Like you have no elite wing shooters or defenders, so like. What are you doing? Like you trade some of these guards now. I guess Asar can develop into a wing, but he needs to learn how to shoot. He doesn't shoot well. He plays really good defense. He's athletic, can pass the ball really well. So he has all those things locked up. He just can't score, at least from the 3-point land. So I don't know, man. That's the last thing I'm going to say. Like Weaver needs to be gone after looking back at these drafts that he's had.
Yeah. Yeah, who knows? Maybe they might add a guy like Tyson Walker in the second round, you know.
Now he drafted him in the first.
Yeah, no. All right, so let's switch over to the NFL here. So Adrian, your Steelers lost again Saturday against the Colts. Mitch Trubisky stunk the place up. So is it a wrap for your Steelers? Are Steelers going to officially miss the playoffs?
Oh yeah, you can book that. They're done. I'm gonna say they don't win another game, so they'll probably finish 7-10, which I think honestly is the best thing that could happen to this franchise because we've been nothing but a motto of consistency. But at some point in time, the bottom has to fall out a little bit, and you have to hit the reset button, which I think they need to do. And when it comes to the offensive side of the football, so in every aspect on offense, everything needs to be rehauled, retooled, a cleansing, whatever you need to do. I need to see something that excites me, it's going to bring some sight to my eyes. I feel like I got to pull my eyes out every week I watch this offense. But with that being said, I'm going to say this, and this is a PSA for all the Steeler fans and all the idiots out here who want Mike Tomlin fired. Come on now, I get it. He hasn't done a great job this year. It's been a rough year, but this man's allowed to have a losing season, man. He's allowed to have a bad year. It's okay. It happens. I mean, but I get because everybody held him to a high standard, but he does not need to be fired. He has 1 year left on his contract. We can gauge it after 2024. Give him a chance in this offseason to retool, rehaul, and get it together. We've had some injuries as well. The quarterback play is not well. Doesn't cut it out. Mitchell Trubisky needs to be cut, making $10 million a year. Now we got to turn it over to Mason Rudolph. It's going to be just as bad. It's not going to get any much better this year. So what we see is what we get. I'm kind of just ready for the season to be over and focus on what we're going to do with these roster moves and this offseason moves. But we definitely need another quarterback for sure. I'm looking at the Justin Fields market. I'm looking at the draft. I'm looking anywhere you want to
go. A guy like Cam Newton?
No, not now. No. If it was a couple years ago, maybe, but no, I think Cam's washed now. I don't think he could really give you anything. His arm is like shot. So I just think if they make the right decisions and make a good offensive coordinator change, they'll be okay. They'll be back in contention next year. But the season needs to be over. We need to hit everybody needs to go cool off and we need to figure some things out. But they're done, especially with the AFC right now with the Cleveland Browns surging, the Buffalo Bills surging. Colts beat us, and then the Texans. So it's just they put themselves too far behind the 8 ball after being 7-4, and now they're 7-7. But it's okay. I can live with it. It's frustrating, but I wouldn't want to see them go in the playoffs and get their doors blown off 43-12. So
maybe they should have signed Flacco. He's bringing the Browns back to life.
I mean, 900 passing yards in 3 games. Kenny wish he could do that for a season. I mean, so it's frustrating. They got up 13-0, and I said, okay, maybe we got something here. And then the KZ hit changed everything. And by the way, him getting ejected from that game and then getting suspended for the rest of the season, it's a joke, man. He hit the guy with his shoulder pads, not the helmet. But, it is what it is. Tom Brady came out and had his back, so I could appreciate that. But we'll see what happens, guys. We'll talk about more in the offseason, but it is what it is. Tough, man. But I can take it on the chin this year.
I think it's funny they got into the Christmas season and started Mason Rudolph. The red-nosed reindeer. All jokes aside, I do think the only thing I'll say on this, because I'm not a Steelers fan and I've lived a life of pain being a Lions fan. I think that people calling for Tomlin to get fired is the most asinine thing I've ever heard. It is probably one of the hardest things to do in the NFL, next to maybe finding a solid quarterback, is finding a really good head coach. And there's a reason that franchise has had 3 head coaches in how many years? Like, Tomlin's brought you two Super Bowls, correct?
One got the 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, and made the playoffs how many times? Like, pump the brakes on Tomlin. Let him get stuff back together. Let him get a new offensive coordinator. Let him figure things out. Like, you can't just go after one bad year. That's kind of how I feel about Campbell, but when he started going down, like trending down, when he was 3-13, but he didn't have the resume that Tomlin had. But I also think, like, coaches, sometimes you got to give them time, let them get stuff together, and especially a guy like that, like, you can't just cover his head. Now, if he goes like back to back 3 and 14 seasons, sure, then you can call for it. But the guy still had a solid season with what he's had, So pump the brakes on fire Tomlin.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, like you said, you need to upgrade the quarterback position. If the Bears end up moving on from Justin Fields, I think Pittsburgh will be a good fit for him for sure.
And real quick too, my bad before you move on. One thing I'm gonna say, I'm gonna leave it at this. And all the people talking about Kenny Pickett, the problem is, I know a good talent. I know a guy who's good enough to get us there. I don't think he is. The fact is, his arm's weak, and then also the fact, Raaj, think about this. He hasn't been able to stay healthy since he's been there for 2 years. He's had multiple injuries, multiple concussions. So you need to go get a guy. If you don't think you're gonna go get a guy in the draft, get a guy who's gonna go in there, compete, and show that he's better. Just you have to be innovative, and so that's what I'm gonna say. You better keep up with the Joneses, or you're gonna get left behind, especially in the NFL.
Absolutely, and that's definitely one of the tougher divisions in football as well. So they're gonna have to figure it out. All right, so we seen Philly lose on Monday Night Football last night. They're currently on a 3-game skid. So, Reid, who do you think ultimately ends up winning the NFC East, Philly or Dallas?
I mean, we saw Dallas get routed too by Buffalo, which I loved to see. I know Adrian did too.
Absolutely.
I didn't even really get to watch the game. It was my my son's birthday was the 15th, but we celebrated it the last Sunday, and so I missed kind of. But I ended up watching all over them in the second half, a little bit, and towards the end of the third quarter. It's tough to say right now. I honestly have to give it to Dallas. Like I've been saying all season, Philly hasn't looked like Philly of old. I don't know if Jalen. I mean, they said he was sick, but his quarterback play doesn't look great. He made some questionable decisions yesterday. Obviously, threw the 2 picks. That one was that last game pick, or the last second pick by Julian was incredible. I can't believe he got 2 feet down. He got a lot of help from the other DB there, who knocked his foot into the ground. But yeah, man, I don't know. I think right now I got to give it to Dallas, as much as I hate to say it. Their defense is too complete. Dak's playing great. As long as they're playing at home, they're going to win for the most part. I wouldn't want to see them go up, I think it ultimately will probably come down to San Francisco versus Dallas in the NFC Championship game, and I think they'll have to travel San Francisco, and that's if they lose. They just have to, win enough so they can play at home. That's where they thrive the most. That's where they play the best. Jerry's world. So, yeah, I got to give it to Dallas right now. Philly's just stat. Cornerback-wise, I think they gave up the most yards to opposing wide receivers. They have some of the worst cornerback play in the league. That defensive front's great, but they can't run the ball that much either unless it is Hurts. Swift has been okay, but not great. They're a little banged up on the line. So yeah, I gotta give it to Dallas, unfortunately.
Yeah, Darius Slay was out of that game yesterday too.
But even with him, I still think they're ranked 29th or something like that.
Although Reid, I don't disagree with anything you just said. I'm gonna go against the grain. It's not because I hate the Dallas Cowboys, but coming and looking at this, if you go down, we have 3 games left for each team, right? Same record. I believe it's gonna come down to the schedule. The Dallas Cowboys go to Miami Christmas Eve. It's gonna be probably maybe a little humid, hot down there. They might have too much fun, enjoying the holiday, early. And they host our hometown Detroit Lions, and then they finish out on the road against the Washington Commanders. It's a division game, especially on the road. And as we've seen, Dallas has not looked great on the road. Buffalo punched them in the mouth. I think that is the key. Philly finishes out. They play the Giants twice and the Cardinals. I think if it's a time to get yourself together, you can win these 3 straight games. I think the Philadelphia could turn it around. If they can't do it with that schedule, and it's just not meant to be for them this season. I'm gonna hold some faith out in them. Jalen Hurts played sick last night. Let's just say this: 92-yard drive at the end of that game. James Bradbury gave up every throw thrown his way late in that game. And any possession before, when Jalen Hurts threw that interception, let's go back to that. That was a easy hold call that the refs missed. The ball would have been on the 1-yard line. And I think Philadelphia, I know they're banged up on the offensive line, but they get a little too cute right now. It seems like run the football. Swift's done good. Game was done good when you get them going in motion. They did a lot last night. They just kind of get away from it. I know you want to get A.J. Brown the ball. I know you want to get Devontae Smith the ball. Do what you do best, man. I think they're 10-4 right now. I mean, the bottom hasn't fallen out. I believe they're gonna play better, man. If they can't in this stretch play better, then hey, I'm wrong. But I'm gonna still pick the Eagles to find a way to win this division.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the Eagles win it too, just off the strength of their schedule. You said the Giants twice and the Cardinals.
Yeah, let me read their schedule in order. I know they for sure. Let's see. Hold on. Let me see. They play. No, they play.
They don't play Arizona this week. I know that.
Chicago they play the Giants. They play the Giants on Christmas Day, 4:30, guys. So we'll be tuning into that. They play the Cardinals at home, and they finish out at the Giants. Thank God we don't have to hear about freaking Tommy Cutlets anymore. Thank you. So I believe they'll go 3-0 and 13. Hey, most teams would love to be 13-4 in this league right now, especially with them going through what they're going through right now. I believe their front 4 needs to get some more pressure though. Jalen Carter's having a good year. I believe he has 6 or 7 sacks on the year. It's just the secondary is just concerning. I don't know how long Darius Slay is going to be out, but I think the offense just needs to kind of figure their stuff out and just stick true to their identity.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, whoever ends up winning the NFC East, I think the wild card will still be dangerous, whether it's Philly or Dallas. I wouldn't want to see neither one of those teams in the first round if I was one of these division winners. All right, so yeah, let's switch it over to the Lions. We see the Lions win 42-17 over the Broncos Saturday. We see Sean Payton. He went off on Russell Wilson on the sideline. So Reid, how was the Lions how were the Lions able to handle the Broncos like that?
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with health. I've talked about it all year. Is the Lions have been banged up in a lot of ways. When they played Chicago, they didn't have Frank Ragnow. He was out. So I know he was back for this game. There's a lot of really good stats when the whole offensive line's playing. The rushing's always better when the offensive line's playing good. And then you also don't have to worry about moving guys like Glasgow now to the center position would cause the fumble between him and Goff that week. And you don't have to put it in a guy like the guy from William and Mary. His name who slips me right now. I can't think after later. But yeah, that offensive line needs to stay healthy. Sam Laporta looked unreal. I mean, he looked like one of the top. He's looking better than what Travis Kelce. I'm surprised has more yards. But I guess Laporta's used in a lot of short area situations. But he's looking like the best tight end in the league right now, almost. Compared to maybe Kittle or Hawkinson, but I think he's playing unreal. I think Gibbs needs the ball more. He only carried it 11 times. He still ran for 100 yards. He was averaging, I think, 5.7 yards a carry. Montgomery is killing. Montgomery does what he does. I think the only problem is Jared. Jared Goff played great Saturday. You can't fault Jared Goff by any means for this, but he can't turn back into the pumpkin that he was the last 3-4 weeks before that when he's turning the ball over. He needs to keep playing well, keep the ball. He just needs time in the pocket. I think that helps him just dink and dunk, throw short plays to Amon-Ra, short plays to Gibbs and Laporta, just monotony moving down the field. Keep the other team's defense out there, and that's what they do best. So they have a kind of a tough schedule. Minnesota's defense kind of set up, but their quarterback play is up in the air. So I think they should win both of them, but I think they might split it just because they will be at home for this game coming up, and it's kind of hard to win in Minnesota at home. We've seen some teams, struggle there. I think it is a possibility to beat Dallas if they're fully healthy. I know it's at Jerry's World, and I just said Dallas always wins there, but Dallas, they looked like they couldn't play against a too high safety when they were playing with the Bills. It was like Dak couldn't do anything. He looked lost out there like he always does. That's the only thing that scares me. They can play that. Hopefully James Houston's back so you can get some pressure on them when they go to play Dallas. CD Deuce should be back, I'm pretty sure. If he's not back this week, I would hold him. I would make sure he's completely healthy, ready for Dallas. I wouldn't play him against Minnesota. Your safeties are playing well enough. Fetty has stepped up. So, yeah, I mean, it's Saturday. I was buzzing on Saturday, man. I was so thrilled. The first three drives by the Lions, my heart was sunk to the floor. I said, it's going to be another crappy week, and then they just turned it on. So I was super happy. I love seeing Gibbs and Laporta combined for those 5 touchdowns. It was 4 touchdowns. Gibbs had 1, right?
Yeah, Laporta had 3.
Yeah, Gibbs ran in. That's what it was. He had a receiving and a rushing, and then Amon Ross scored the 5th one for Goff. So, yeah, I mean, we were. I was asked by my wife's grandfather. He said, "Who would you, if you could pick one Lions player's jersey right now? Who would you pick?" I said, after last night, Laporta. That guy looks like the steal of the draft. And I hate to rant on about this, but I also think it's a testament to Brad Holmes. Everybody was saying, this guy's draft. What are you doing drafting Gibbs at 12? And you took a tight end and Laporta in round 2 and Branch, he was a steal, but we might have to wait on it. And all these guys are playing great. I mean, Campbell came in, he's playing awesome. He could still use some time, but he's still playing awesome. Gibbs obviously is looking great. So I'm just thrilled, man. I'm so happy right now.
No, I'm happy for you and all the fellow Lion fans. I think early in the season they talked about how Gibbs was a bust, and it's funny how things change over the course of a season. After you get a good offensive coordinator like Ben Johnson, he finally figures out how to use Jahmyr Gibbs. I actually don't think the Lions are using him enough, like you said, in the run game. Give him some more carries. He's actually more of a power runner with speed. Then we realize once he hits that hole, he'll put his shoulder down, man. He's quick and get to that sideline. They're using Montgomery, I believe, perfectly. You think about this. Gibbs right now, 792 rushing yards, 7 rushing touchdowns, 399 receiving yards, and a touchdown. He has almost 1,200 scrimmage yards with 8 touchdowns. I mean, if that's not a contention for offensive rookie of the year, I don't know what it is. Jack Campbell, I know we talked about. He hasn't been the best. He's second on team with 75 tackles, so he's fine in his own. So I guess we got to give him a little more time. But we'll take that. Laporta turned to a star, man. It's crazy how these Iowa tight ends are all good, from him to Hawkinson to Kittle, to Noah Fant. It's amazing to me that they're so bad on offense, but they produce such great tight ends. But with this team, I just think, like we talked about, the key, Jared Goff cannot turn the football over, and he has to have the offensive line fully intact, and he has to have a good running game to set up that play action pass, and he will be good. Jamison Williams, too, by the way, guys. I think he played his best game as a Detroit Lion. It wasn't just gadget plays, reverses. He had a tough catch on the sideline where he got drilled, but he held onto the ball, came up a little gimpy, but got back in game, blocked. He showed me something. He showed me something, man. So I'm pretty impressed. He can give you that vertical threat down the field. We know St. Brown's going to give you that intermediate to slot guy. I think they have the pieces. We can't expect Jared Goff to be Jared Goff, but he can play at this level. The Lions will at least win this division and get a home playoff win. And for me, that's what it's going to take for it to be a successful season. I believe they can beat the Vikings. The Dallas game is going to be crazy, guys, because that's the pre-New Year's Eve on a Saturday night. So that's going to be a big watch for the whole country to see the Lions on national stage, especially against the Dallas Cowboys. So I hope they can put the world on notice and embarrass the Cowboys, but that is on the road. So I think that's going to be a tough one. So I'm 50-50 on that. I prefer them to kind of take care of the Vikings because you don't want to have to play the Vikings in that divisional, in that wild card game, possibly if they don't get the 2 seed. because you don't want to have to play your division team 3 times in 4 weeks. That's a lot to ask, man. But I like the direction they're going. The defense, and I will say this last thing last, the defense, they haven't been great this year, but Aaron Glenn dialed up aggression. He does what the 49ers do. He does what the Vikings do. He did some stunts, brought some safety blitzes, some corner blitzes, just some things to keep Russell Wilson and company on their toes. It wasn't just get down with 4. Pascal actually showed up this game. They brought a guy, Kendall Vildor, off the practice squad. These guys just played hard, and that's all you ask right now because you can't really improve the defense much more into this offseason. Hopefully, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson will be back. I know they activated his window to come back. Hopefully, McNeil will be back. Maybe James Houston. We'll see, but they can play like this with some fire and some just tenacity. This team can do some special things, man.
Yeah, they'll definitely be a lot better if Gardner Johnson, McNeil, those guys come back, and they play a lot. They play a lot better at home than they do on the road. So I kind of figured that was one reason why they would bounce back and beat the Broncos. And good thing they're hosting. They're going to be hosting a playoff game this year if they win a division, which we all expect them to. So it's a good thing they're going to host instead of having to go on the road. And they're playing this well. They hit on their first and second round picks. Those 4 guys. They're all contributing, playing big roles. Branch, Laporta, Gibbs, and Campbell. So, yeah, that's why this team's having the success they're having. And I expect them to beat Minnesota on Sunday. I think they're just a better team than Minnesota. They got the better quarterback. I understand it's on the road. I know golf. I know the team, they play a lot better at home. But Minnesota does play in the Dome. It's not like they're playing outside. So, hopefully McNeil, Gardner-Johnson could be back for this game. I'm not sure. But I firmly expect them to beat the Vikings this Sunday.
I unfortunately don't think either of those guys are going to be back. Just maybe Gardner Johnson, if they want him to. I don't think they would rush him back, risking another injury or risking re-injury against Minnesota. McNeil, I think, is going to be out probably for another. If he's not back by the end of the season, he'll probably just be back for the playoffs. I don't think he's going to come up IR because they can be on there for up to 4 weeks, right? So. Yeah. Excuse me.
Yeah. As long as we get him back for the playoffs, we're good.
Yeah. But I don't know if he'll be back for the regular season. We'll see. They did play. I was yelling again. Nothing I was pounding my fist about. Play Broderick Martin. Let's see how he plays. And he played a few snaps on Saturday. So that was exciting to see. And another guy, Bruce Irvin. Just keep playing Bruce Irvin. I was the one that got him being 36 years old, coming off an injury and didn't do much last year. He's been bringing a lot of pressure. He looks good. He's quick. He at least gives Aiden a little bit more help than a guy like Charles Harris or the Aquara brothers. He's got a motor, and I didn't even realize it. So keep playing him. I guess he had a hurt ankle the week before. He didn't play. Hopefully he's good now. But, he definitely brings another aspect that helps Aiden on the other side of the line.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's get into Adrian's top 5 list. Adrian's current top 5 NFL teams. Let's hear it.
All right, fellas. Well, there's probably going to be some definite disagreement. Me and Reid was texting about it back and forth last night in the group chat. He thinks I'm the biggest Patrick Mahomes fan in the world. But with that being said, let's get it started. I think these first 2 teams, guys, we can agree that these are the 2 best teams in the NFL right now. Let's go with number 1. They've been here most of the season. San Francisco 49ers. What more can I say, man? This team is explosive. They have CMC, they have Deebo Samuel, they have Brandon Ayuk. The defense is good with their front 4. Kyle Shanahan does a great job with this team. And then they got a very big game Monday night. It's Christmas night at home versus the Baltimore Ravens. Rodgers a Super Bowl pick. So that brings me to it. At number 2, the Baltimore Ravens, number 1 seed in the AFC right now, coming off a Sunday Night Football win against the Jacksonville Jaguars, who just totally went to the bathroom on themselves that entire game on Sunday night, missing 2 field goals, Trevor Lawrence fumbling in his own. Then a play before half where they forget they don't have no more timeouts and don't even get a field goal off or a touchdown attempt. Her number 2, they go to San Fran. So I believe it was 5.5 or 5, which is a dang. We call it the devil's number in betting. So we'll be on the lookout for that game. At number 3,
so who's ready? San Fran?
Yeah, San Fran.
I think 5.5 last I looked.
5 or 5.5 last time I checked. All right, guys, this is where we're gonna have some disagreement. So number 3, I'm gonna go with the Miami Dolphins, the number 2 seed in the AFC. Coming off a bounce back win Sunday against the Jets, 30-0 blowout. No Tyreek Hill. I think Tyreek Hill has a chance at the MVP if he can get to 2,000 yards. And number 4, a team who I absolutely despise, and every time they lose, I always smile, and that's the Dallas Cowboys. An embarrassing loss against the Buffalo Bills, who are turning the heat on right now. Sean McDermott, give him a lot of credit. Whatever they did it during that bye week, must work. Josh Allen doesn't have to do everything. It's amazing what happens when James Cook can run the ball, but Dallas once again does not perform on the road. 3 out of their 4 losses this year they've been smoked by 10 plus points. They're not a physical team at the line of scrimmage, so if you can punch them in the mouth, you can definitely beat them. And number 5, my boy Reid. I know he's gonna disagree with me, but coming off a win in Foxborough, the Kansas City Chiefs 9-5. They're still in that AFC West right now. I know they're Kadarius Toney's doing stupid things again, dropping balls, leading to an interception. Patrick Mahomes frustrated on the sideline, but I feel somehow, some way, they're gonna get it together. Rashee Rice 7 touchdowns. Find a way to make it good. Kelsey's got to play a little better. But the thing I'm separating between them and the Philadelphia Eagles, who a lot of people are worried about, is this Kansas City defense is really, really good, man. Kansas City has a shot, I believe. I think they can get to the AFC Championship game. But the big difference is Patrick Mahomes will be playing on the road, and that's something we haven't seen in his career up to this point. And right out my top 5, we're going to go with the Detroit Lions, a big win Saturday night. And number 7, the Buffalo Bills, who I believe are the hottest team in the NFL right now and turning the heat up on teams right now.
Yeah, I'm okay. Let me see. I agree with the top 3. I got San Fran 1, B-More 2, Miami 3. I got the Lions 4th.
Okay.
Lions 4th, Kansas City 5. That's what I would change. I would put the Lions over the Cowboys as of right now. We'll see what happened this week's games, but as of right now, I'm putting the Lions. They won convincingly over Denver. It was at home, and Dallas went out there and stunk the place up against Buffalo. So off the strength of that, I'm gonna put the Lions in front of them.
Yeah, I'm with Raj. The thing about Kansas City to me is they just haven't looked dominant. They haven't looked like the Kansas City of old. Patrick Mahomes, obviously, we know his receivers are crap except for Rashee Rice. Travis Kelce has been on a real lull. I mean, granted, he does have, I think, 800 and some odd yards this season.
Crazy.
Yeah, which is nuts because it's like so the rate you just think he's having a bad season when it's still a solid production for him. He hasn't scored as many touchdowns as he normally has. They're just I wouldn't put him at like 8 or anything. Like I'm not moving him crazy. I just move him just outside. I put him at 6 because, like you said, I mean, they still can make noise. They still can do well. Like you said, we might see something we've never seen before, which is Mahomes in a non-home playoff game. So I don't know. That offense needs to get something going. Granted, playing the last 2 games without Pacheco, that run game isn't the same without him in there. So I will pump the brakes on them a little bit. But Mahomes also two touchdowns, 2 interceptions, something that you don't see a lot. He's thrown a lot more picks. He's had to do a lot more with his feet. We know he can do it, but he's had to do a lot more this season with his feet than he's had to do ever before. I know you guys probably saw that Cam Newton thing where he said guys like Dak and Tua and Jared Goff, granted they're not Patrick level, I get that, but he called them game managers. They have all these great weapons around them. That's why they're good. Any quarterback with big weapons around them are good. They're the best quarterbacks in the league. We're seeing it with Patrick Mahomes right now. He doesn't have any weapons other than Travis Kelce. Rashee Rice is a emerging talent. He doesn't have that Tyreek Hill. He doesn't have the guy that he can rely on all the time. So I think that there is there's just a little bit of hesitancy on the Chiefs at this moment.
No, fair. My biggest thing was moving the Cowboys down a little bit. I kind of almost want to put them at 5, but I'm gonna give them a pass because I think their defense is legit and their offense is some firepower. So I almost moved them down to 5. But I was debating on putting the Lions at 5. But let me see what they do in Minnesota this week, and so they can be more consistent. They put one good game together because a game they needed. So let's see when the pressure's off and they're not playing with like wounded animals. Let's see if they can just play consistent football. That's what I want to see from them. And like I said, Buffalo is a team I think is scary right now. I just think they're going to keep moving up. They're playing the Chargers on Saturday night, they're going to blow the Chargers doors off. And by the way, thank goodness that they finally fired Brandon Staley. I am so happy. Maybe we can get Justin Herbert, a competent coach and a competent offensive coordinator finally.
You think Harbaugh or Ben Johnson goes and coaches the Chargers?
I think Ben Johnson takes that job. I mean, they have an elite quarterback. He's only 24, 25 years old. I believe they can cut trade Joey Bosa, whose cap hit is I think $37 million. So the Chargers are already over the cap, but they have some big time cap hits on that team where they can move around that roster and get a little younger and make some moves and help him out because boy, would I love to have a Justin Herbert on my team right now. I tell you.
Yeah, if only they drafted him when he was available.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. I mean,
I forgot to mention
Kellen Moore over there. Maybe they move him to head coach.
They could.
Well, the thing that scares me is he didn't get them. That's what scares me the most. Kellen Moore's not the interim. He's not the interim head coach for the Chargers. They promote one out. I just said this before you started this. Michigan went into overtime with Florida. They were down by 2, had a great play, and then came down to block the ball to stop Florida from taking the lead. So they pushed it into overtime and they're up right now. But all that being said, I think a seat candidate is Bill Belichick. Go there, not Harbaugh. I would say either Ben Johnson or Belichick. I think he wants to get out of the cold, like I said last week. Thaw. I think with a young quarterback like Herbert, who can give you kind of some similarities to what Brady did when he was younger, I think it would help. I think Ben Johnson might stay one more year, especially if the Lions do well in the playoffs. We'll have to see. I don't know, but like you said, they have huge cap hits with Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. So I don't know. It's kind of a weird situation in Los Angeles for that because, I mean, they do get a good high draft pick, but, the cap space is going to be tough with them. So, I mean, young, good offensive line.
Yeah, they'll make it work. I mean, there's also Ben Johnson. I don't see him taking – that would be probably the only job I see him taking. He's not going to take that Carolina job. And I believe the Washington job is going to come open. So they're just going to wait till the end of the season to let Ron Rivera go. But I'm not taking that job. So, I mean, there may be some surprise firings, but I believe that would probably be the best job for him. I don't see him I'm not taking the Vegas job. Definitely don't see that happening.
I think they need to keep was Anthony Pierce, is that his name?
The interim coach?
Yeah.
But I gotta check. I'm not even sure. I didn't even.
I think his name's Anthony Pierce. I think they keep him.
Talking about the Raiders, Antonio Pierce.
Yeah. Antonio Pierce. That's what it is. I think they need to keep him because those guys have rallied around him like the Lions rallied around Dan Campbell. Like he's brought guys back. Like, granted, they don't have the best team. They don't have a quarterback because Aiden O'Connell's there, but I think it definitely needs to be. You already fought it once with Bisaccia. He took them to the playoffs and they didn't even bring him back. So I think Pierce brings a big motor to this team that they need. So I don't know. We'll see. This offseason is going to be huge with all these coaching jobs opening up. This loaded draft, like this next season, might be one of the best off seasons that we've seen in a long, long time.
Yeah, for sure. And I definitely disagree with that Belichick's take. Belichick needs to be done after this year.
That's just my hot take.
No, I feel you, but no, Belichick at this point, he just needs to be in somebody's front office or some type of office position at this point. He doesn't need to be on the sideline, man. He's just an old, angry, grumpy old guy. You coaching young millennials. These guys was born in 2001, 2, 3. I don't think he identifies with them. I don't want to see Belichick on the sideline anymore, especially trying to take that Patriot way to another state in another franchise. I don't see it working. So,
and he's an East Coast guy at heart. So there's no way I see him. His personality does not fit the West Coast whatsoever.
Hey, here's a real quick hot take. What if he just takes over Lee Corso's spot on College Game Day and he starts doing the picks? Pretty good when they did the Navy. They did the Navy game.
Does he even have the personality? I don't think I've ever seen Belichick smile.
Very rarely.
He had a good personality when he was with McAfee and those boys on College Game Day. So I don't think he would actually do a TV job because, like you said, he's kind of a reserved guy, so he doesn't really talk a lot. I just think it'd be funny if he took over for Lee Corso because that guy's a dead body that needs to just go. As much as I hate to say it, a Florida State guy, he's got, I don't know, he's on his last. It's like grandpa the old folks home to come and do something once a week to keep him busy,
Yeah. I see a lot of people calling for a lot of these old guys' heads. I heard a lot of people calling for George Blaha's head too to stop coaching the Pistons game. Stop calling the Pistons game. So. All right, let's see some of the feedback here. It says Dallas Cowboys play very good at home.
Yep.
It also says Detroit Lions should sweep the Minnesota Vikings. I mean,
it should, but it's a division rival, so you know how that goes.
And it's any given Sunday. It's any given Sunday. So, and last one here, it says Ben Johnson should stay with the Lions. Head coaching in the NFL is very difficult and lasts on average 3 seasons.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that he runs one of the hottest offenses in Detroit. There's a lot of talent there, but you have a guy like Goff, and you're making, he had a resurgence after leaving McVay's offense too. So I think Ben Johnson could take any quarterback that especially like Justin Herbert, he could take him to the moon. So that's the one thing I see. Like Adrian said, he should be taking jobs like the Raiders. He shouldn't be taking jobs like Washington. The only thing I can see for Washington, because it's new ownership, maybe gets handed the keys to the castle. The one I'm most intrigued about, Adrian brought it up, is Carolina. Who's going to take that job? Somebody might take it just because they, you know what? You know who might go there? Which they made a personnel switch earlier in the season, or this late in the season, was Matt Patricia. They might just try him and give him an offer.
Carolina can't be that. It can't be that much knuckleheads to do that. That'll be idiotic.
Nah, if you're gonna snatch up somebody's defensive coordinator, at least go try to get Aaron Glenn or somebody like that. Stay away from Patricia. Stay away from
please
Patricia.
do.
Yeah. All right. So Adrian, who's your current NFL MVP? Who's your current MVP front runner?
Going Tyreek Hill. Hot take. I want him to get that 2,000 yards to get this reward, man. And I know a lot of people are saying Brock Purdy, but look at Christian McCaffrey's doing. Look what Deebo Samuel's doing. Look what George Kittle's doing. So if you're going to give anybody the 49ers, the MVP to the 49ers, give it to Christian McCaffrey. But right now, I'm going to go on the hot take, and I'm going to say Tyreek Hill, and he gets that 2,000 yards.
Yeah, for me, I think it's tough. I mean, I want it to be Tyreek Hill. The wide receiver never win it. I think he deserves it, especially like Adrian said, he gets that 2,000 yards. You have to give it to him. Calvin didn't get it when he got when he broke the record, which is crazy. But I mean, like we said, it's a quarterback award, so I think a quarterback ultimately going to get it. McCaffrey would be my second guy, just because, like you said, look what he's doing with that team. He has 1,800 total yards with rushing and receiving, and 20 total touchdowns rushing and receiving. So, the last guy we saw win at the running back position was AP when he drove his head off through an MVP season. So, ultimately, I think it is going to come down to Brock Purdy, unfortunately. But I would like to see Tyreek Hill win it. I think that he's just – it stinks that he went out 2 games ago and then he just left, and that really hurt that 2,000-yard season. I still think he can get it, but I didn't like seeing him go down like that.
It looks like Michigan's going to double overtime, but for Tyreek Hill, the guys that get this 2,000 yards, he's 458 yards away from 2,000, so that means he needs an average of 152.6 yards a game. I think it's possible. So, yeah, we'll see. Let's give him a shot.
Yeah, for sure.
What about you, Raj?
I'd give it to Christian McCaffrey as of right now, because he's on the best team in the NFL right now. Arguably pretty much their best player. He does so much for them, all-purpose yards. As of right now, I'm gonna give it to Christian McCaffrey, but also I think that Monday night game against the Ravens and the 49ers, if Lamar goes out there and wins that game, he puts up some big numbers. I know he doesn't have the prettiest numbers right now, but if he goes out there and pulls that off and wins that game and puts up some big numbers, that you'd have to put him right there. I think if he goes out there and wins that game, I think he'd be in the league.
I think I'd probably give him I put him in the top 4 probably at that point. I'd put the two skill position guys, and then I'd put either Purdy or Dak over him. Dak just played a stinker against Buffalo. That brought him down, in my opinion. The thing about Lamar is just the passing. I mean, he's looked better. He doesn't have the rushing that he had in his MVP season, but I mean, I'd put him up there for sure.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so last question here. John Morant's making his return tonight against Memphis. Adrian, what are you expecting to see from John Morant, and can he get Memphis out of the cellar of the West?
I think it's still early enough in the season where he can. What did I tell you earlier? I believe they're 7 games back right now, so 6 or 7 games back. So I definitely think there's a shot. He's gonna inject some life into that franchise, bringing a star player back. I've already seen some highlight plays from the night thus far. I definitely think Memphis has a shot, man. Turn the season around. I think Ja's learned a lot. He's matured. He's been practicing with the team, so he'll be ready to go, man. I got faith in him.
Ja right now is at 17 points, 7 assists, 4 rebounds. The Grizzlies are down 74-83.
Okay.
So I have a bet. I need him to give me 25, Bane 1 more 3. I need Florida to win this game actually against Michigan, and then I have Marquette, but they're down to Providence right now.
All right, well there it is. Well,
yeah,
we're gonna go check out that Florida Michigan game. We're gonna see what John Morant's doing, and there it is. Sports update every Tuesday, 8:00. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.